Assalamualaikum everyone and welcome to iOS app development course. This is our lecture number 3 and our topic is control flow in Swift. So Swift control statements has three types: branch statement, loop statements and control transfer statements. So we will discuss them one by one in detail. Control flow. So what is actually control flow? Control flow statements are used to control the flow of execution in a program. That means that if we are building our logics, we will need these branch statements or loop statements or transfer statements to precisely write our code and to follow a certain algorithms or anything. So we need these statements. So the number one is branch statements. Branch statements allow the program to execute certain parts of code depending on the value of one or more conditions. The value of the conditions specified in a branch statement control how the program branches and therefore what block of code is executed. What does that mean? It means when we are dealing with conditions, okay, so we will need these branch statements to execute our program. There are three types of branch statements: if-else statements, switch statements and cart statements. Now before starting the if statement, there is a question why we actually need conditional statements. Very often when we write code, we want to perform different actions for different decisions. You can use conditional statements in your code to do this. In our daily life, we also face different conditions or different condition statements, and on the basis of them, we take our decisions. There's a simple example that if weather is rainy, we will wear raincoats. But if weather is sunny, we will need sunglasses. So there is a decision making here. We will decide that if the weather is rainy, we will check that if weather is rainy, we will simply wear raincoats. But if the weather is sunny, we will not wear this raincoat and we will need sunglasses instead. So in daily life, we face different types of conditional statements, like for example, if I want to study, then I will just open my laptop and I will start studying. But if I don't want to study and I want to do coding, so instead reading slides, I will open any emulator or any device on which I can do my coding. So we face these conditional statements in our daily life as well. So in order to embed such type of conditional operations, we will need these conditional statements. So the if and else statement. An if statement can be followed by an optional else statement which executes when the boolean expression is false. We can separately use if statement as well according to our condition or our requirement of the code, and we can use them with else statement as well. If the expression is evaluated to non-zero true, then if block statement are executed, mean that if our condition is true, then we will execute the if statements, right? And if the expression is 0, means it is false, then if statement will not be executed, like I have explained in the previous slide, the umbrella examples, that if it is raining, then we will wear the raincoat, and if it is sunny, we will need sunglasses. Similarly, if statements are similar to these conditions, so what is the syntax of our if statements? If statements, we will write if, and then in these round braces we will write our boolean expressions, mean our condition, that what is the condition of our project, or what is the condition of our statement. Then we will write the statements in these curly braces of the if statements, right? This is the condition or statement of the if statement, and this is the statement of the else statements. If this statement is true, right, then this code will be executed, and if this condition stands to be false, then this expression will not be executed and it will jump to else, right? Let me remove this one. So this is the syntax of our if and else statement. Then if the first condition stands to be false, else control will pass to else, then this statement will be executed and it will end our program, right? This is the control flow diagram of if statements. First of all, our program will start. It will check the condition. Okay, number one, if the condition is true, then the control will go and conditional code will be executed, means the statements written in the if statement, okay, will be executed. And if the conditions is false, then the control will directly go to an end, and this will end this if statement. Okay, it will not go to the if statement curly braces over here, but if the condition is true, it will go to this, it will execute this statement, and after the execution of the statement, it will go to the end of the program. Now this is the flow diagram of if else statements. Okay, so the control will first check the condition of if statement. So the condition will be checked over here of if statement. First it will check the condition of if statement. If condition is true, then the if code will be executed. After the execution of if code, it will end this program. But if this condition is false, this condition is false, the control will go to the else code, this one, and it will execute the else part, and this will end this program. So from this diagram, now this is an example of if else, right? First we will declare a variable and we will store value 10 in this number variable. If number is greater than 0, right, we are putting a condition that if number is greater than 0, then print number is positive. But if this number is not equals to 0, it will not print, right? So here the condition is true, right? The number is greater than 0. Okay, 10, this will be like this, 10 is greater than 0, means this print statement will be executed. This print statement will always be executed, right? Because this value is true. So we have learned the concept of if statements when we are dealing with two conditions, right? If condition, if condition is true, if code will be executed, else otherwise else part will be executed. But here the question is if we have more than one condition, right? If we have more than two conditions, yeah, more than one condition, what we will do, then we will use these nested if statements. Nested if statements are similar to the if else statements, just their syntax is a slight different. We will have the same if statement, the if condition, then the if statement, then we will have else if and the else condition and statement, then we will have an other condition, that is else if and its statement. If this condition is true, if is true, then these part will not be executed. Okay, if this is true, if this is true, if this is true, then this whole will be executed. Okay, they will give us a output. We will execute this whole code. Sorry for my handwriting. Example of else if statement means if we are dealing with more than two statements. First of all, we will declare this variable here. It has value 200. Now we will check the statements. If number is double equals to 10, means if number is equal to 10, here what we are doing, we are comparing these two values. If this number is equal to 10, print given number is equal to 10. Else if number is equal to 200, given number is equal to 200. This is the next statement. So if number is equal to 10, no, the number is 200 and it is not 200, can't be equal to 10. So this statement is false, right? Now we will go to else. Else indicate if number is equal to 200, no, no, yes, 200 is equal to 200, so this value is true. So it will print this one, else print fail, right? So the output is given number is equal to 200 because the second else statement was true. This num was equal to 200, so this statement will be executed. Suppose here it is 20, so 20 is not equal to 10, false. 20 is not equal to 200, false. So then in that scenario it will print fail, right? So we can say how these if else statements or these conditional statements control the flow of the code and how it helps us to maintain the logic of our program or do small tasks related to these type of logics. So the whole if else statement has been cleared. So we can also use the assignment operators, the comparison operators, modulus operators in these if conditions as well, just like we are using here this assignment operators like comparison operator. So similarly, we can also use other comparison operators like greater equal or less equals to or less than equal, yeah, less than or greater than. We can use these comparison operators as well over here. For example, we can also write if the number is less than or equal to 10, if the number is greater than or equal to 10, else print anything. So these comparison operators can also be used in these conditional operators to check different types of conditions from different perspectives. For example, if you are asked to print the minimum and maximum values, you are given two values and you are asked to print the maximum value from two values. So by using these if conditions and by using these conditional operators, we can easily check them. Similarly, if we are asked to print the even numbers, right? If we are asked to print the even numbers, so we can also print this by using if statements or by comparisons or especially by using arithmetic operators. So these things are made very easily with the help of these operators and control flow statements. The next conditional statement is the switch statement. A switch statement allows a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. So how does it work? The expression is evaluated once and compared with the values of each case label. If there is the matching case, the corresponding code is executed. We prefer switch when we are dealing with more than five conditions. So in that case, we do not use if-else statements. Instead, we use switch statements because they are more convenient and easy to use. And the execution time of switch statement is faster as compared to if-else. And switch also creates jump tables. So on the basis of jump tables, it do all the execution. So switch is much faster than if-else statements. Both switch statements and if-else statements are conditional statements, but there is lot of differences between switch statements and if-else statements. So the if statements check for equality as well as for logical expressions, as we have done few tasks in if statements. So we have seen that we also use logical operators in our if conditions. On the other hand, switch checks only for equality. That means switch only checks if the condition met, means that certain condition is equal to another condition. Then switch only deals with that. It doesn't deal with logical expressions. The if statement evaluates integer, character, pointer, or floating point type or boolean type. On the other hand, switch statements evaluates only character or any integer data type. It doesn't deal with pointers or floating point types or boolean types. Sequence of execution is like either statement under if block will execute or statement under L block will executed. So this is the sequence of execution for if and else statements. But the expression in the switch statement decides which case to execute, and if you do not apply break statements, then it also checks for the further statements as well. But if we apply the break statements, the control will just, if the condition meets, the control will then uh, reach its end and will not execute the next statements. So switch is slightly different from if else statements. So this is the syntax of switch statement. First of all, here the switch will receive the expression. Now it will check the condition. So number one, first case will be checked. If this condition is true, then this statement will be executed, right? If this condition is not true, the control will pass to the second condition. If this condition is true, then this statement will be executed. This break means that if this first condition is true, then execute this statement, right? And break means that the control will pass to the end. But if we do not put this break statement, so instead this expression is true, it will also check the condition of this expression as well. So we can have more than one case statements as well. Here we have case 1 and case 2. We can write more cases in the similar manner and can check different case conditions accordingly. So how the flow diagrams or the flow of these switch statements occurs. So first of all, here we receive the expression. After receiving the expression, the switch statement will execute its case 1 condition. It will check if this condition is true, code block 1 will be executed. It will check case 2. If this condition is true, it will check block 2, similarly block 3, and if these conditions are false, it will go to the end until the end block is executed. So this is the flow diagram of our switch statements. So we have seen it is very easy to simply write conditions and put them in cases like this and compare them. We can use switch statements and if else statements according to the requirements and according to the need of the code, and we can also use them alternatively, but switch is recommended when you are dealing with more than 5 conditions. So in that case, don't use if-else statements because its execution time is lengthy and you have to write very lengthy code as well. So if condition is greater than 5, so don't use if-else statements. But if you are dealing with logical operators, so in that case we have to use if-else statements because switch statements does not support the logical operators. So we have discussed the conditional statements in detail, if statements, if-else statements, nested else statements, and the switch statements. So if you have any confusion or any questions, you can ask me in the live session. So thanks.